right, guys. I really don't know how to start this video.
I know how to start it. Is it ever too early to talk about Matt Canada, guys?
Never too early to talk about Matt Canada.
Even despite, it's week 1, we got 16 more weeks of the NFL season.
Yeah, guys, just so you guys know, he's not going anywhere. He's not going to be fired mid-season. I would be shocked.
Yeah, first and foremost.
I would be shocked if we get rid of him anytime during the NFL season. But as you guys know, traditionally, the Steelers never fire coaches.
So
we are stuck with this guy for 16 more games.
To make it short, we're fucked.
We are screwed with this guy, bro. The Steelers have trapped themselves with Matt Canada for a whole entire season. Once again.
And they only have themselves to blame for that.
And this is just week 1. Yes. We are only in week 1, but we're already seeing the same song and dance from years past. Color me shocked!
New Year, same offensive game plan, same offensive system.
Rinse and repeat.
Despite how much more the Steelers have added.
You know what's so stressful about this? I feel like we say this every year. I feel like we've made this video every year. Why do we gotta keep making this similar video every single year? The only thing that each year brings is more consistency on the fact that Canada keeps doing the same garbage. That's it. Every single year, it's the same thing. Excuses for sounding like a broken record. I'm sorry, but that's what it is. That is exactly what it is. Why is it that every single year when we face elite teams, we get blown out? Why is it every single year when we face elite teams, when we face top-tier teams, when we face top competition, when we face real talent, when we face contenders, we get blown out and we're down by so much that we have to pass it 40, 50 times a game?
It goes to show the offense is not balanced. Look at the 49ers game, for example. I believe Pickett threw it 46 times because he had to, because the Steelers didn't have a proper game plan at all on offense.
No.
And when it came to the rushing attack on offense, we ran it a total of 10 times. Najee only had 6 carries. And a first round running back has 6 carries.
And we had the ball to open the game, I believe.
Yeah, we did.
We had the ball to open the game, and we went 3 and out. I guess it set the tone for the game, didn't it? Every single drive in the preseason, granted that doesn't mean much anymore, so if you get excited for preseason hype from here on out, there's no point because we saw none of that in the 49ers game.
No. 0.
Every single game in the preseason, we opened with an opening drive touchdown. Pickett and the starting offense went 5 for 5 on scoring drives, and they did everything they didn't do. And then they revert right back to everything they did wrong for how many years now?
Yeah, so I got to ask, where the hell did those plays go?
What happened? Even Kenny said, well, I guess the 49ers defense is a lot better than the defenses we were facing in preseason. No shit!
No shit, Pickett.
Swear jar.
It doesn't help that you didn't play too good either. You played like an absolute rookie.
Is he going to learn from it? That's all he can do. That's all he has to do. That's all he better do is improve.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he's going to learn from it as a quarterback. We can only hope so. His worst game of his entire career was this past Sunday.
But at the same time, it doesn't help when the game plan on offense has been the same since Canada first stepped in.
Yeah, there is a thing such as coaching matters. It really does. It really does. In fact, it's really helped Brock Purdy's development.
Yeah.
You can't take anything away from Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy torched us on Sunday. Brock Purdy showed you he's looking like the better quarterback from that class so far.
Yeah.
And again, it goes to show you that the Steelers coaching staff and the Steelers offensively got exposed. But people kept giving Canada the benefit of the doubt all offseason and this and that. And
oh, no. Remember years ago, Ben's last year,
You're
2021.
Right. You're right.
Oh, Ben's old. His arm is shot. Canada needs a younger quarterback. Okay. So 2022, they got Mitch Trubisky in free agency, and they drafted Kenny Pickett. But what was the excuse? Oh, Mitch is terrible. He's a bust. Then when Pickett stepped in, oh, he's a rookie. The guy needs to develop. The guy needs to learn.
So what is it?
What is it exactly this year? What is the excuse? Oh, it's week 1. Oh, it's growing pains.
It's not week 1. It's not week 1. It's the same thing we saw in 2019. It's the same thing we saw in 2020. It's the same thing we saw in 2021. It's the same thing we saw in 2022. Ever since this guy has become the OC in 2021, has been the same thing. And the coaching staff has remained the same since prior to that.
Yeah. Got new players. Got great talent.
Got a better roster from years past. The best roster we've had probably since 2020, honestly. And this is how we do.
And it goes to show, because of the system, it doesn't matter who you have in there. It doesn't matter how many names and players that you add on the team, how much you improve the offensive line. If you have the same game plan, the same playbook, you don't open the playbook, you're not going to execute on the field.
Because we're gonna put passing sheets onto the screen right now. Here is Ben from 2021. Okay? Look at that real closely. Okay? That's an aging quarterback in his final year. Look at Mitch last year, 2022. Not much difference, right?
I don't see any difference.
Look at Kenny Pickett this past Sunday versus the Niners in his second year.
And you know what? Just to add the cherry on top of this Diarrhea Sunday that we are talking about, really, let's even throw in Mason Rudolph's passing sheet.
When he played against the Lions, which ended in a tie, and he had to start last minute because Ben got COVID the day prior.
Do you see any difference?
I see no difference whatsoever. A lot of behind the line of scrimmage, a lot of just barely over the line of scrimmage, not much deep completions, not much middle of the field, a lot of sideline shots, a lot of dink and dunk, a lot of route designs that are just prone to be as if they're in go situations. Honestly, it looks terrible. But you know what all these passing sheets have in common? Matt Canada.
Yeah, I want you guys to take away the fact that Mason's a backup, that Ben was pretty much at the tail end of his career.
That Mitch was a bridge, that Kenny was a rookie, or Kenny's in his second year.
Take all that out your head and understand the fact that despite whoever is in that quarterback, the game plan has not changed since day one.
Not one bit. Mason confirmed that himself in his post-game after the Lions game. Said, yeah, we didn't really change much of the game plan. So you're telling me that your game plan with an aging quarterback who can't throw the ball anymore, you didn't change the game plan for a younger quarterback with a stronger arm and deep threat ability? And then 2 years later, it's the same thing as if you're scheming around Ben. Why?
At this point, you might as well call up Ben like, hey, Ben, grab your cleats.
At this point, grab the helmet, man.
Step away from your podcast.
It is no different. Now, we're not saying there hasn't been tries towards the middle of the field. There have been some route designs. There have been some attempts. There have been some throws towards the middle of the field that either were not thrown to or just were missed or were inaccurate or even ended in some interceptions. We're not saying that he hasn't tried that side of the field entirely. But the route designs are so terrible. The route designs are so similar. In fact, most of these receivers are running the same routes on the same play constantly. Why are we running screens and flats and drags and hitches and curls?
And how is that supposed to confuse any NFL defense you're going up against?
We are not aggressive. There's no deep shots. There's not even any attempt towards the middle of the field or not much of it in that regard.
None, dude. Or hell, even when we try to establish the run, that is if we do try, you're not confusing defenses because the run plays that you do, that you draw up, they don't work.
No.
They're so predictable. The defense will just come straight running down and stop him dead in his tracks right away.
They can easily just stack the box. They can play short because they know the offense has no aggressiveness down the field. They know this offense is not going to use the entirety of the field past 15 yards. They know when they run the ball, they're going up the middle, stack the box. You can stop Najee and Warren in the backfield.
Yeah.
You might get a couple on the ground. That's it. And then when they pass the ball, you know it's going for maybe 5 yards. You know the second they catch the football, the play is dead. This offense is the same thing year in and year out, and it has been for the past 4 years. And under Canada, it's been the same thing since he's came in as OC, but he's been under the system since before that.
Yeah. Quarterback coach, when Fickner was here, we all know how Fickner was. But I'll say this about Fickner, he wasn't even close to bad as Matt Canada is.
Yeah, we thought, oh, how can we get any worse than Fickner? Boy, were we wrong.
Now,
Oh, my God.
let's promote our quarterback coach that we hired. And then, boom.
This guy failed as a college OC, as a college coach. And we brought him in for, you know why. You know exactly why. It has everything to do with Mike Tomlin. It has nothing to do with Kenny Pickett. It has nothing to do with the fact that he recruited him to Pitt. None of that. It has everything to do with the fact that Mike Tomlin, that him and Canada have history. That Canada got Tomlin's son, Dino, into Maryland before he transferred to Boston College.
Yeah. You don't think Tomlin...
That's the problem. And it's been that way since before Canada came in. Fickner, when he was promoted from quarterback coach to OC, they had connections from, late 90s? Same thing with Keith Butler when he was promoted from linebacker coach to DC. They all were on the same coaching staff in the late 90s elsewhere.
You don't think...
I forget what college it was, but they were all in the same room.
You don't think Tomlin talked to Dan or Art Rooney and said, hey, I know this guy. He's a good football mind.
And the problem is they trust Tomlin too much.
And that's the thing with this organization, with ownership. They're very loyal. And I can understand that.
It's a blessing and a curse. It truly is.
I can respect that.
But they trust Tomlin too much. They really do. They believe in him a lot. And I understand why. But in years past, in recent years especially, not only has he, but the entire coaching staff has given us no reason to be confident that we can go far. They haven't won us anything. And that's why when I hear excuses that, oh, it's week 1. Oh, the Chiefs, Bengals, and Bills, they all lost in week 1. So it's not that bad. Yes, it is. Okay? You can't compare us to the Bills, the Bengals, and the Chiefs. No. Because compared to what we have won, compared to what they have won in recent years, we have been jack shit.
Yeah.
They have found great success in recent years compared to us. They all have more recent playoff wins, Super Bowl appearances, AFC Championship appearances than we do. So you can't compare us.
Yeah, we're nowhere near to where those teams are at the moment.
So you can't compare that. It's not so bad that we lost because the Chiefs, Bengals, and Bills lost too. No, it's the same thing. At least the Bills, Bengals, and Chiefs aren't doing the same garbage year in and year out. At least they're not seeing the same episode year in and year out.
And that's another excuse that we got to hear. Oh, every team does what the Steelers do. They just execute better. Yeah, I can understand that, but they don't make it the full game plan for their offense. If that was the case, Josh Allen wouldn't be anything. Mahomes would not be anything.
No, they're a lot more balanced.
They're balanced.
They're a lot
they
more
mix it
creative.
up.
They don't run the same routes all the time.
No.
They don't have the receivers run the same route tree all the time. They use the field. They use everything ahead of them. Right? It's like our limit when it comes to any bit of exercise in the field is at least 15, 20 yards. Teams exceed that.
And even then, that's just bad. That's really bad.
It's like we literally have a limit. And we can't go farther than that. And I have no idea why. It's so frustrating year in and year out. And again, we are stuck with this guy. We are stuck with this coaching staff for an entire season with a better roster.
And that's what's the most depressing, right?
I don't want to say that week 1 sets the tone because, truthfully, deep down, the Steelers are going to remain in playoff contention. They have done that in years past. They did that last year when Kenny went in his rookie year, right? They did that when Ben was in his final year. So deep down, this team is going to still remain in playoff contention.
But
it's still going to be the same song and dance year in and year out. I'm sorry to cut you off, but every single year, it's the same trend. It's the same thing. Same game, similar game plan, and same trend every single year.
And it just seems that that's all they really care for. That's their new standard.
That's their new standard, exactly.
Nothing about upgrading, being more competitive, getting more points on the board. It's just staying in contention.
Yeah.
And continuing the reign of not having a losing season.
It's not week 1, bro. It's not week 1. It's the same thing we saw how many years ago? How many years ago? It's not even the stuff we saw last year. It's stuff prior to that.
Years ago.
I feel like I'm putting in a VHS tape. That's how long it feels that this is going. It's terrible, bro.
And that damn VHS tape is just replaying time after time after time. You're just rewinding the tape. That's what you're doing.
Seriously.
Oh, let's rewind the tape to watch it again. That's what you do. That's what they're doing.
That's what it is.
That's what we're watching.
That's what it is. Anytime we go up against elite competition, it's the same. It's literally the exact same game. You look at any game that we got blown out the past couple of years against elite competition, it's an incredibly similar trend. It's just different teams. That's it. Same movie, different cast. That's all it is. It's a fucking remake, and every single time it gets worse. Jesus Christ, man.
We got 16 more weeks of this.
Because nothing's going to change. Nothing's going to change mid-season. The only thing we can hope is... Honestly, I don't even know. I don't even know. Because based on what we've seen the past couple years and what we have accomplished, and the fact that we have the exact same coaching staff, there's no reason to believe we can go any farther than we have already had.
Yeah.
No reason to believe that. The only thing we can hope is the team itself improves. The young guys continue to grow. That's it. That is the benefit of the doubt.
I feel like every year we continuously say that damn freaking thing.
I know.
Oh, we just hope that they get better.
That's
every year with this thing. And every year they don't.
That's the string of hope that we continue to just hold on to, I suppose. This team is too young and too talented.
I'm at a point. I'm at a point. I'm about to let go. I'm tired of gripping on. I'm about to lose my grip because I'm tired of seeing the same thing year in and year out.
I know, man. After an incredible offseason, a great draft, you know, it's upsetting to see the roster go through just the same thing every year. And yes, some parts of the roster are to blame. It's not all on coaching. It's not all on Canada. It's not all on Tomlin's preparation and his underwhelming performance against elite teams. It's not. Some of it has to do with the roster. Some of it has to do with the players. In fact, if Kenny hit some of his targets on Sunday, who knows what the result would have been.
Yeah, of course. Again, Pickett didn't look good Sunday.
The O-line didn't look good. So, it's not all on the coaching, but it does start with the coaching, and it plays a massive part. Coaching matters. And the preparation and the game planning
if you don't have it properly in set, if you have no idea what you're doing once you step on that field, it just speaks disaster.
Exactly. And that's what we're seeing, man. And unfortunately, it just feels like that's the trend we're going. You know, if you've been watching the Steelers as long as we have, you kind of know what to expect from the Steelers after a few couple weeks. You know the trend they're going to go. It's week 1, and I already feel like we know where we're going to go because we've seen this already. How many years now?
And excuse us for thinking that way, but we've seen this same damn movie for the past 3 years.
Exactly.
Long before that, really.
All we can hope is, honestly, I don't know. I'm trying to be optimistic. I'm trying to find a positive here.
All we can really hope is that they do what they did in preseason. They take some of the plays, some of the chunk yardage plays, middle of the field, stuff that we want to see, that we have been preaching.
You want to know the positive? You want to know the positive? Our toughest battle all season is out the way. That's it. That's it. That's the positive. Now maybe we can see what we saw in the preseason. Maybe we can see some explosiveness against mid-average teams. But what does that say about us? Mate, that's the only positive I can come out of this. That's it.
Speaks to me like we're just living our fears. I'm sorry.
That's the only thing I can find. That's legitimately the only thing I can find. Anything else, I don't know. If you guys have any other positives, please let us know. I'm sorry to be so down, but I'm really trying to be optimistic here because we know the potential this roster has. As long as they all live up to expectation and up to the pedigree and the price that we paid for, you know, we know the potential this team has. And yes, it's week 1, and they are going to grow from this. It's a long season ahead. The team itself is going to grow, but I can't say the same thing for the coaching staff.
No.
So I honestly don't even know what the title of this video is going to be. Is it going to be a blatant Matt Canada title, or is it going to be all coaching? At this point, it might just be all coaching, honestly. We came into this video not exactly knowing how to start it or what exactly we're going to talk about. It was just going to lead from one to the other, and here we are.
Yeah.
We got the Browns coming up. We're already suffering through some injuries. Hayward's going on IR. Deontay Johnson's going to be out a few weeks. We don't know what's up with Chucks. We got the Browns coming up, and the Browns had a hell of a performance against Cincinnati.
Yeah.
So
it's just not looking good for us right now. 1 weekend, and we're already in the pit of misery. Dilly dilly.
Oh, God. I thought that died, man. At this point, I don't know. Anyway, I think we're going to just end the video here before we start repeating ourselves. But I feel like that's going to be a weekly occurring thing. Is every single year we're going to just keep repeating ourselves.
It's just...
and I feel like we've been doing that for 3 years.
It's just pretty much just prepare yourselves.
Yeah. We're not saying the season's over. We're not saying the season's a failure immediately. We're just saying that whatever your expectations were or whatever your expectations are remaining, like we've been since Ben's last year, since Ben left, since even last year, even coming into this year, just very standard, very middle of the field, I guess.
Yeah.
Very mid, I suppose. Just keep your expectations just in the middle,
Minimal.
I guess.
Minimal.
Don't expect much, and if they overexceed, that's great. If they don't, then at least you can get your hopes up. That's the vibe I'm getting now. That's the kind of vibe I came into this year, but, you know, fuck me for feeling a little more excited based on what offseason we had and what preseason we showed. But clearly that's not showing yet.
Now, leave it to this team to disappoint.
We'll see. We'll see what this season holds, but unless the coaching staff steps up, I'm not expecting a huge push from this team. It could still be a plus 500 season. It could still be a playoff contending season from the Steelers, as it always is. But that's about it. It's the same thing every year.
And based off the Niners game, that's just what we think.
Yeah.
That's just what it comes off as.
We could be wrong, but that's just the tone they set. I hate to say that week one doesn't set the tone, but...
It never does, but it was still a bad first impression.
Yeah, it really was. It really was.
But we will see what happens.
All this team can do, all this roster can do is grow. And we're confident saying they will, but how far can this team go? We got an entire season ahead, so we'll see. But let us know your guys' thoughts down below. How you guys feeling?
About Canada, the entire coaching staff, really. How do you think they're going to execute? How do you think we're going to do the rest of the way? See, I'm just chuckling thinking about it.
Just let us know how your entire thoughts are, honestly. Otherwise, we'll see you in the next one. Here we go, Steelers.
And as always, like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you later. Peace!